Well, that wraps up our stay at Rosette, Wyoming at the All Seasons RV Park. And as you can see from this banner here, there's plenty of things I'm going to be doing in the next week. Unfortunately, they're all without Sue. Sue went back home to visit her mom and her daughter and to attend a wedding, and she assured me it wasn't her own, so I was okay with that. We're on our way to the Rafter J Bar Ranch in Hill City, but along the way we had a stop at a rest stop, and I just wanted to show this one because to show you how different it is when you're traveling. Here we are in Wyoming and we go into this giant rest stop. There isn't a soul here except the caretaker, who's very friendly, waved to us. And now fast forward to Illinois and Indiana, and oh my God, there were some rest stops that we couldn't even pull into the rest stop because the ramp was so full of trucks that we had to quick pull a left-hand lane change so we didn't get stuck and plugged up in those. We've done plenty of videos where we showed going through elevations like this where I had to use the Jake brake, but this one shows how Sue and I operate when we're in hilly areas, and I try to put her at ease because being in the passenger seat is the most scary job in America. How am I doing? You enjoy the scenery, I'll look at the yellow line. Thank you, baby. That's what you want to hear from your wife. If you think it's an easy job, have her drive sometime and see how you do in that seat, looking over the cliff with a big giant truck sweeping by while you're eating an oatmeal cookie. So we're pulling into downtown Custer here, and we're going to take a left-hand turn. Turns out this is kind of a cool little town, a lot of good breakfast and dinner opportunities. In the background is probably the thing that defines the Hill City and South Dakota Badlands area to me. This monument, memorial, Crazy Horse is just breathtaking. And we really visited this thing right 2 years ago when I actually took a tour where I was driven up onto the arm. We did not do that this time, but we have a helicopter tour coming up, and we'll give you a good look at it there. Speaking of helicopters, here's actually the place on the right-hand side right before we pull into the Rafter J Bar Ranch RV Park. This was one of those times when you knew you made the right decision picking this place out, because you can see we've got all the room in the world. That pool, as it turns out, was the perfect temperature, a great hot tub. They were real friendly. In fact, 2 times this guy carried out packages for us that I had sent there prior to our arrival. Sue went on a little forward recon for our spot before I drive in. Let's listen in what happened. You have the Honda probably right where I need to be. That's good, hon. Thanks. Sure takes a load off my driving when I don't have to worry about getting Sue irritated at me when she didn't quite make a decision that is going to fit with the rig. What a great travel partner. And I'm going to miss her shortly when I take her to the airport. Departing flights, arriving flights, departing flights. So I remember sitting in the Honda when I was filming this driving in that I understood she was coming back in a week, and I knew I had 6 or 7 things all packed in to do and it was going to be fun. But I also knew that when I watched her walk away, that about half of my sunshine for the week went with her. As much as Sue and I love our Honda, especially for carrying our e-bikes. We will admit that going on a trek like this in the Honda on a gravel road with a steep grade like this with switchbacks is not what it's made for. And a couple times we caught ourselves doing something like this, and it didn't take long to say, don't ever do it again.
Oh man, this is good.
Is there more parking, or should I just park here?
Yeah, I would park next to the Jeep. Yeah. We're at the Mount Coolidge Fire Tower Outlook in Custer State Park in South Dakota, and we just ground our way up this road. But I gotta tell you, this is the engineering section of the OJiM show. The first thing I noticed, and the first thing I wanted to train the camera on, was this connection. And I guess I gotta apologize, I'm supposed to be looking at the scenery here, but this is probably the only time I'm gonna have good cell service here. So I'm so excited that I think I'm gonna call Sue. Why do you keep telling me I have to leave here? Oh, okay. I'm a rule follower. Yeah. Okay.
Too many pictures, and you're talking to me.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Brian, Linda, myself, and even the dog Willow all agreed that going up to the Mount Coolidge Lookout and seeing this vista was one of the highlights of the 21 days in the Hill City area. No stop to the Custer State Park wildlife loop would be complete without getting stuck in traffic with the Bison, and if you're real lucky, on a different section you'll get plugged up with the mules or the donkeys. Always fun. We're going to keep it short here because last week Sue did something on the Durham Bison Ranch. Hope you watched that episode. You can imagine what it must be like riding through this area on a motorcycle, because even in the limited visibility of the truck, it was just breathtaking. We'll get some helicopter shots later what this all looks like, but what we're going to concentrate on now is the fact that Brian has essentially a Ram that's about the size of a F-250, and he's got to take his turn because traffic goes one way and then the other way through this giant slot that's cut into this rock. I can tell you that it was not overly roomy, and we did have some people in the RV park that bragged that they came through here with their dually. I'm thinking if they did that, they must have used Vaseline on the sides to make sure that they got through without incident. One of the fun things Sue and I have done in the past is we've parked on this side, and then just like these people on the left you saw there, we'll watch the people come through with some of the contraptions that they actually dared to show up in. Brian, the experienced Tuttle guy. I always like to look at the machinery on trains, realizing that in the engineering department of this train company, they were doing their best to do everything. And as Flintstones as this stuff might be, it was the state-of-the-art way to do it. This particular locomotive was built in 1924, and it is still running. So I love the sound of a train whistle, and you'll hear plenty of that in this video. You heard the engine here kind of skipping a beat here as it's going up the hill, and that's when the locomotive wheels slip on the track. And the gimmick that they have to eliminate or reduce that quite a bit is they actually drop sand onto the track so the wheels get a better grip. One of the cool things about this train is if you like the train whistle, you're going to hear plenty of it because it crosses 21 roadways on the way there and of course 21 on the way back. That dark smoke you see is not from coal. This train burns used motor oil. Turns out in the Black Hills you can't use coal because of the fire danger, and it's been like that for quite a while.
Wow, it's a manual operation. Open up the door, pull down the water, and let her rip. Okay, I just want to record this quick. I don't think I'm supposed to see this, but I'm pretty sure that the rest of the steam train is fake and all of the steam is fake, and everything was run by that Honda generator because they're pretty powerful. I did not expect this part of the trail to be this beautiful. We're on the southern end, and we started at a trailhead that was almost to the end. We're going from that trailhead to the end, and I just had to stop and capture this for her amusement as well as everybody else to see what this section looks like. Paul is a successful retired entrepreneur that owns a giant farm that processes sugar beets, and here's his lovely wife Pat. But I just noticed one thing, that you basically are very, very poor at technology here.
Yes,
And
exactly.
she had to have you figure out this.
How to get the mileage on there.
How to do what?
Put the mileage.
Okay, but doesn't that make you wonder, how did he operate the controls in the $100,000 John Deere tractor?
His boys taught him.
Oh, okay. All right, back to the trail.
All right, so we don't have to feel too sorry for Paul here. Check out the way he gets on this Bison, realizing that Paul is 74 years old and he's right-handed, but he's getting on this thing with his left leg. OMG.
Wow. I got you getting on that thing on film, and you are not going to get me climbing on it. This is not the helicopter we're on. This is kind of the whirlybird style that I was used to when I would watch that television show when I was younger. But I mean, look at how cool this is. The engine is probably 6-cylinder, because I'm seeing 3 on this side, 6-cylinder opposed. But you look at the position, it's literally laying sideways. Dual fuel tanks, 57 gallons per. And you look at all of this fragile shafting. The shaft goes through here, down the mast to the back. And this is what keeps the whole cab from spinning around. You kind of hope that that gimbal arrangement is all healthy and all in one piece. And actually, a pro tip I can give you is, if you're a customer here and they start that baby up, don't stand too close to this railing, and watch where you put your hands.
So here's our helicopter. It just came in, and shortly we're taking off here. It's extremely smooth. We had a really perfect day for taking a trip. We had no bouncing around, no motion sickness or anything to worry about. It was just a dream. This helicopter is extremely complex looking on the inside, very high tech. And you see the manual in the right-hand corner there laying on the floor. It's really an odd sensation to put all your eggs in one basket, meaning the machine operating and the professionalism of the operator, who, by the way, was very, very good. Every American, of course, is proud of Mount Rushmore and the whole statue and monument that's here, but I want you to pay attention of the size of the faces and how it's carved on the side of this outcropping of rocks. And when we get to the point where we're looking at the Crazy Horse National Monument, and you see that they're basically carving it from 360 degrees all the way around, you're going to be startled on the difference in the size. So the Pigtail Bridges are kind of cool, where you basically corkscrew in and out of the same rock formation, but yet have your own personal tunnel at each elevation you're at. You'll see that we just pointed to the Mount Coolidge Lookout area, and that was where we previously drove up with Brian's truck. When I was editing this video, I was thinking to myself, when is the best time to take a helicopter ride like this? Is it before you see everything or after you see everything on the roadways? And I am certain the best time is after. The beauty of that is you actually start to recognize different things here, especially after the pilot points it out and names it, and then you go, oh yeah, that's where I was, and yeah, I remember looking that direction. So that really is the way to go. When we were in the air, there was a lot of other helicopters around us, and I caught one here by chance that I show you, but at any given moment, I'd say between 2 and 3 were in the air. So the pilot really had to stay organized, and they communicated with each other. The Harney Peak Fire Tower shown here is no longer used, and there's no roadway to drive up that like there was for the Mount Coolidge Lookout that we took you with us on. This particular peak is 1,200 feet taller than the Coolidge. It actually is 5,200 foot elevation gain when you walk up it. It's 7 miles round trip. It'll take you 5 or 6 hours. So if you have it in you, I can imagine the view is just breathtaking once you're up there. So we're hovering around all sorts of different areas of the Needles Highway, and shortly we're going to actually be pointing at the area where there's the little parking area where you can park and gawk at all of the people going through the narrowest tunnel there and trying to fit their Dodge Dually or Ford Dually through it. This Needles Highway was probably driven half a dozen times by Pat and Paul over the years with their Harleys. When some of their friends from Australia would come over, this was kind of always one of the must-view areas. So I want to apologize to Paul, who's sitting in the back here with his wife Pat, who graciously gave me the front seat so that I could record this for the video, but also to apologize for all of the places that I'm not pointing out, because when we got off the helicopter, he literally wrote down a list and drew a map of everywhere we went, and I of course saved it, but I can't talk fast enough to tell you all that in these 15-second clips. So everyone asks, where's your favorite place to visit and travel? And what would always pop into mind would be South Dakota, the Hill City area, and in particular the George Mickelson bike trail, which we have never found one that's as good as that trail or as spectacular. But this monument, Crazy Horse National Monument, has just captivated me. You can see right off the bat the size of this thing. You could put Mount Rushmore on the side of the head of the headdress of the warrior that's being carved here, and for the most part this is going to be a 360 degree carving. Right now you're looking at the back side, and since I saw this about 2 years ago, I literally can see the progress on the backside, and I see a lot of the detail being carved in the hand and fingers and in the arm itself. So here's a little bonus for everyone that I resurrected from 2 years ago. We did not have a channel then, but we were still nonetheless recording what we did. And here is me going up on this arm to get a close and personal look. Now at the time, they always had way less than a dozen people working on this thing, and they had all of the basic equipment. But as people would come and look at this magnificent monument, and they were possibly in a position where they could, affect some changes, there were companies that started to offer either deals or gifts of equipment. And this particular time we were there, someone had just donated a bunch of diamond cutting cabling equipment, and that's when they started working on the side of the mountain and the fingers and the hand. And that's why I see such a change when I look at this monument. We'd like to thank all of our viewers that tune in every Sunday, week after week, and give us the pat on the back by leaving comments and using our Amazon link to help support the channel. We really appreciate it. Sue and I love doing what we're doing, traveling, and being able to document it for our own use as well as sharing it with everyone. We really appreciate each and every one of you that shows up. Consider subscribing, give us a thumbs up, and we will see you next week.